we had some interesting comments from our very own governor, Ron DeSantis. And, don't we have in our state, we are really blessed in the state of Florida to have a great governor. And we've got that because we were smart and we voted for him. And I'm glad we did, because our state is the standout across the country. In fact, a lot of people talk about they wish they had our governor, Governor Ron DeSantis. And he was on Laura Ingram's show last week and had some interesting comments and even some stuff that I thought was somewhat newsworthy. So I wanted to just play a couple of clips from his appearance on that show on Fox News last week. And specifically, he speaks to this concept, and this is part of what's going on. This is what that juror number 52 had in his mind. He had in his mind that America is a racist country, and we got to make some change. We got to be involved, so we got to spark change because America is this horrible, racist country. And Governor DeSantis and other people that we're going to hear from today, but Governor DeSantis speaks to this, and he speaks to critical race theory and how it's really a malign influence in our intellectual discussions now. This is sort of taken over intellectual discussions and is really misleading us and turning us against each other. It's divide and conquer. It's identity politics. And we've talked about that extensively, but let's hear from Governor DeSantis.
Well, I think it's very damaging because it's an attempt to delegitimize all the institutions in our country, starting with the Constitution. They say they denigrate the Founding Fathers. They denigrate everybody in society now. So I think it's very harmful. That's one of the reasons in Florida we've banned critical race theory being taught in our K through 12 schools. We think teaching people to hate the country, hate each other based on race is not a recipe for success. And so we don't believe that that's consistent with what the country stands for.
It's hard to argue with that, isn't it? Teaching people to hate each other based on race is not a recipe for success. That's not going to be a recipe for our national success. He went on to say that this particular country, the United States of America, has had more opportunity for more people than any country in the history of the world, and he's right about that. And we've got a little quote from Maximo Alvarez that we'll try to get to as well. But I wanted to play just one more clip from Governor DeSantis's interview with Laura Ingraham last week, and he talks about how these riots have influenced politics, possibly influenced the jury, and this sort of speaks directly to the story that we just shared with you about juror number 52 in the Derek Chauvin case.
What we really have to be cognizant of is...
I got to set this up a little better. The first person that you hear here is Hawk Newsom. You might know that name. He's the leader of BLM of Greater New York City. So here's what he has to say, Hawk Newsom, and then it'll be followed by Governor DeSantis's comments on what Hawk Newsom had to say.
That it was a mixture of violent and nonviolent protests that yielded this result. That's the bottom line. America doesn't listen to us when we march peacefully. I'm not saying people will be back in the street, but America must know that if you continue to allow us to be murdered in the streets without justice, we will raise hell in America.
Well, that's really, really troubling, because if that's what a lot of people think, and I don't know what happened with this verdict, but if that's something that can potentially happen, where you basically have justice meted out because the jury is scared of what a mob may do. And again, I'm not saying that's what happened here, but that speaker seemed to suggest that that had an impact. That's completely antithetical to the rule of law. And I think what we've done with our bill, our anti-riot bill, is saying, you engage in that, you're going to jail. You're not going to gain by doing that. We're going to maintain law and order. But certainly to think that somehow that is going to influence how the rule of law is applied, it would be a total disaster if that idea takes hold.
Thank you for listening to the Morgan Streetman Show. We hope you enjoyed what you heard, and if you did, please click like and subscribe to help us out. And remember that we recommend that you exercise your brain at least once a week.